Hi YAS3s, this is Judge Kitty, and I want to start off by saying thank you so much for the wonderful sports-filled show that I just watched. I thought all of your pieces were really innovative and interesting, and I loved all of the concepts. So thank you very much for, again, a great show. I wanted to start off with your ratings. I have, with 4.5, I have Bibi Liang. I loved your performance. Also, Robert Mauti, I gave you a 4.5. Mark Henretti, 4.0. Garrett Kling, 3.5. Amy Nunn, 3. Catherine Hill, a 3. Sean Rabbit, 2.5. And Morel Chambers, 2.5. Now, before I get into everyone's personal review, I wanted to give one general note to all of you. One thing that I saw throughout all of the pieces was a lack of having neat feet. I felt that you really thought about the upper part of the body, but so often I didn't feel the footwork was really clean and neat. And as a choreographer, that's something that I always try to pride myself on, and also as a performer. So I hope that'll be something you'll look after and take care of for future performances. The very first skater I want to look at, and is the first person I saw, was Bibi Liang. Oh my gosh, Bibi, wow. I loved your piece. It reminded me so much of High School Musical, the basketball scene, and I have to tell you, my favorite part was the slow dunk, the slow motion dunk where the boy was being carried and he reached up and he nailed it. I just thought it was awesome. I wanted to try it. I thought you did an amazing job with the ball tricks, and I also loved the YMCA. I thought it was brilliant how you went through each person of each letter, and having it as a follow-up I thought was really dynamic. I also thought you used the focus in the piece very well. I always knew where to look. Your use of humor was great. I laughed out loud several times. The opening scene I laughed at when they were all dancing. I thought the cheer, and also the ending pose and the split. Really the only notes that I have are that I would love to see the cheer with Andrew and Darren be a little clearer. Either move it, stage left or stage right, but just a little off center. Or have the two boys who come up behind stay back a second or two longer. I also thought that in the Pump It Up circle, I thought you could clean up the moves a little bit more, or at least take a look at it and use a little bit more footwork along with the arms. And I think that was all I was going to say. Just kudos to the performers and congratulations. And I gave this performance, as you know, a 4.5. The next skater up is Amy Nunn. And you did the rhythmic gymnast, and I thought your choreography was absolutely beautiful and seamless. I don't know how you did it. It looked like she'd been doing this program for years, and I thought you used her flexibility with your choreography to the best that you could, and her use of the ball was also fabulous. I just can't imagine being able to do all the tricks that she did with it. The one part when she throws the ball up and kicks her foot behind her head, again, was amazing. And it makes for a beautiful picture. Well, I hope that they did take a picture with a camera, because they should. Here are some notes on this piece. Where I had a problem was that I didn't feel that the beginning montage and the end montage matched the feeling of the piece. I thought her performance was so lyrical and so beautiful. But your opening and your closing had this kind of comedy feel. And I always believe that within the first 10 seconds of a piece, you sort of set the tone for it. And so I sort of expected some comedy in the piece, which didn't happen. So my recommendation would be either to drop the montage or maybe change the focus of the main piece. I felt that I wanted to see a little more drama and emotion behind the movement. If it is a piece where she is nervous, then I need to see that kind of nervous anxiety, or use bigger sweeping movements during the big crescendos. mainly the reason I'm suggesting those things is that I felt the emotion was all on one level. I gave this piece a 3.5, and thank you, Amy Nunn, for a very, very beautiful piece. And I don't know who's next. Catherine Hill. Catherine Hill, you did the dodgeball. I have to tell you, I loved how you used every morsel of music in the beginning of your piece. I thought the beginning, and I felt it again on how you were building the tension through the piece, the way the boys looked at each other, the interaction at the beginning. I couldn't wait to see what would happen. My favorite parts were when you threw the ball over the hydro blade, and also Jason's spin. Wow, some of those positions he hit with the ball were pretty amazing. Some of the notes, I would have loved stronger partner work. I kind of liked it. The most powerful moment to me was when Jason died and the two boys were going off together. It was so powerful because they were in sync. And I didn't know if that was something you planned, but it really was powerful to me. But I'd love to see more of that within the piece. I wanted to see more weight in the movement. There were a lot of good and interesting steps, but again, I felt at the same time I didn't know where to focus. I felt there was too much going on in certain times. I'd like to see it a little quieter and really know where you want my focus to go. I rate this performance a 3. Sean Rabbit did the dodgeball matrix style. I loved the cross-under spin, which was being circled by the low-gliding hydroplane. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It was incredible how powerful that vision was. And I felt from then on, your piece was very powerful, all through the steps, right to the end. The only thing that sort of left me hanging a little bit was the way the ball hit your partner. I don't know how I would have ended it, but I sort of took away from the power that had been leading up to it. Some of the notes that I used, I would have liked to see you connect and use the ball more. I wanted to feel a more heightened fear earlier on from being hit by the ball. I felt you were sort of playing at the edges instead of really getting into the mix. You did a cantilever, which was amazing, but I felt it would have been even more amazing if the ball had been thrown over your head at that point, or if your partner was closer and there was some kind of resistance between the two of you. For that reason, it didn't stand out the way I think it could have. I awarded you, Sean, a 2.5 for this performance. Mark Henready. I love this concept. I felt you were working out from the get-go. You kept that feeling throughout the entire piece, which is really hard to do. I thought there was excellent use of the balls. You were very connected to the balls at all times. There was never a doubt, which I kind of like. When you use a prop in a piece, I like it to be a part of the piece. And I loved how committed you were to everything. And you've always been this way in every piece I've seen you do. I love that passion and that commitment. The only notes I had for you, Mark, was I would have loved to see you start moving a little bit sooner. There was one part where you were doing a backup step and then you did 2 kicks. Every time, I watched the piece several times, but every time you got to that point, I wanted to see it move rather than staying static. What else? I felt your movement got a little bit small when you and Daniel were fighting over the ball as well. I think that might be something you might want to look into or play with. I'd love to see a little more resistance with each other, maybe a tug and pull with the ball, something. It's just that one little area I'd just like to see cleaned up. And I guess that was it. I really loved it, and I awarded you a 4.0 on that. I gotta end it there. Morel Chambers, I have the Dancer's Dodgeball. I loved your musical choice. I thought it was really cute. And I love the whimsical nature of the piece. It definitely looked like you guys were having a lot of fun when you were shooting it. I didn't quite understand the ending when you threw up the ball over your head, it was kind of like, oh, okay, I give up. And maybe that is what you wanted, but I feel there might be a better way to register it, or at least finish the piece, just to let us know that that's the end. The ice rolling was fun and cute, and the only thing I would ask is that everything be a little bit neater. I just sort of felt the steps, sometimes the attitude, everything wasn't clean and crisp, which I think it needs to be, so that may be something you want to look into. But I did love the toe work that you did. You did this great kick, all three of you. Musically, it was fun, and a little daring. So I awarded this a 2.5. Robert Monti, oh my gosh, there was so much humor in this piece, and right off the bat I have to tell you that I have an 8-year-old boy, and I can tell you one of his greatest fears is being left out, or made fun of, or not being part of the group, and I think you really, really nailed it with this piece. And maybe that's why I found it so funny, but it really, again, from the beginning to the middle to the end, you told a wonderful tale that I could follow, and really loved it. I thought your focus moments were great. The use of the ball was also wonderful. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Some of my notes, one part where the boy was scared, Will looked scared. There were 2 moments when that happened where it was all just the upper body, and I would love to see that emotion fill his whole body. Maybe a different stance, or maybe how he does a little step, something that moves rather than just being static, because it didn't always ring true to me, and I think it could, and I think that would make the piece more powerful. The same thing happened when he was crying, and this is where I thought you could maybe use a little bit of the ball in there, or slowly roll it, or it was right beside him, and I just felt maybe he could cling to it, something. There could be a connection. The other part, I have to look here. Oh, also when he was crying, you didn't see the other boys, and I didn't know if that was something that was your choice, or if it was because of where the camera was. I wasn't sure, but something you might also want to play with that would be interesting to an audience is what happened to the boys when they saw him cry. You know, how did that affect them, and why did they change and come back and help him? There must have been something there. And it would be an interesting choice to sort of see what that changed and how it occurred. I awarded your performance a 4.5 stars. I thought it was amazing. The only thing I didn't mention that I loved was the ending. I loved the follow-up ball and the thumbs up. I really thought it was cute and great. So thank you. The last one is Garrett Kling. Hi, Garrett. I loved your Galaxy Football 3000. I thought it was an interesting concept. I would never have thought to put that on the ice. So again, having a son and a husband who love to play video games, it was kind of fun to see that take on the ice. I thought your beginning, the opening, when you were on the toes and then you did that tug of war, I thought that was wonderful. I wanted to see more of it throughout the piece. I felt a lot of the movement was light in weight. I wanted to see it a little bit heavier, especially if this is a video game and you're seeing that emotion and fighting. And I think if you had put the weight in movement and also built the tension to that final moment, I felt it was one level a lot of the time where I felt like you could have pushed it a little bit more. And I guess that was it. I wanted to see more life and death. But I did award you a 3.5, and I loved it. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, all of you, for a wonderful show today. It was so much fun to finally see some advanced skaters. I hope you have a good rest of the competition. Thanks again, Audrey. Bye.